I'm very good. I'm blessed. We've been part of the selective of God,
Mm.
so I'm blessed.
Okay.
All right, so the ball is in your court, Doc.
Right. Good evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Radio Lecture on your trusted FM station. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that affects students and teachers alike in this digital age. Social media as a learning tool, the pros and cons. Social media is everywhere, from WhatsApp chat to TikTok videos. It is actually shaping how we communicate, learn, and share information. But how exactly is it influencing education? So let's explore both the benefits and challenges of using social media as a learning tool. First, let's look at the benefits for students. We are going to look at the benefits for students. One, enhancing collaboration and communication. Enhancing collaboration and communication. The social media platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, Google Docs, and Facebook allow students to collaborate in real time. Imagine a group of students working on a science project. They can create a private WhatsApp group to share learning resources, ask questions, and support each other from the comfort of their homes or hostel. Another point has to do with access to learning resources. Access to learning resources. Let's say a student is struggling with a math topic. YouTube has thousands of videos that actually break content down step by step. So from Google Drive folders full of study notes to massive open online courses, what we call the MOOCs, on Coursera, Khan Academy. The internet is a vast classroom resource or vast classroom. All that I'm trying to say is that the student can access vast information from various sources like the Khan Academy, what we call the web quest. So if you are interested in downloading videos, short videos, you can go to this site and then learn. Another point, increasing engagement. Now, students love interactive content. So teachers can use Instagram posts or Twitter quizzes to check for understanding. A TikTok challenge around, let's say, a concept in chemistry will be fun and educational. Another point, exposure to global opportunities. A student can join global study groups on Facebook or Reddit. Reddit is a popular social media platform and online community where registered users can post content, comment on other posts, and vote. So learning from peers in different countries is possible through the Reddit that I just mentioned. For example, a Ghanaian student learning French might practice with another student from Senegal, for example, using the Zoom or Skype or YouTube Live. Social media also promotes self-paced learning. Self-paced learning. In other words, the learner can learn on his own. So with recorded Zoom lectures or even the radio lectures that we are having, or YouTube videos, and platforms like the Khan Academy, students can learn at their own pace. They can pause, they can rewind, they can re-watch lessons until they grasp the content. So Using social media as a learning tool can help students to learn on their own. Building digital literacy, researching online, evaluating digital sources, and creating content helps students build 21st century digital skills that are essential for the modern workforce. At this point, I want us to move on to the benefits of using social media as a learning tool for the teacher or the instructor. 1. Improve communication. Teachers can use WhatsApp or Telegram platform, for example, to send reminders, class updates, and clarify doubts outside school hours. So this helps to keep everyone on the same page. Another point has to do with innovative teaching. Teachers have been creating short videos, or what we call the bit-size videos on TikTok and Instagram. Imagine a teacher summarizing the causes of the First World War in 60 seconds with animations and sound effects. That would be fun. Another point, professional development. Social media is a hub for teacher growth. Joining professional learning communities, what we call the PLCs, on Twitter or Facebook allows teachers to learn from experts, attend free webinars, and share experiences. Another point, resource sharing. Google Classroom, which is LMS, a learning management system, and Padlet. Padlet is a digital bulletin board. Allow teachers to post videos, assignments, and notes. So there will be no need to print the lecture note. You just post whatever you want the student to learn about on Padlet or Google Classroom. You upload the lecture notes like the PowerPoint. The last but not the least point I want to talk about has to do with parent-teacher communication. Through WhatsApp or Facebook groups, teachers can regularly update parents on student progress, homework, and school events. I remember when we were in the primary school, the teachers will write the note, put them on a paper, fold them, and put it in your backpack. When you go home, your parents will have to examine your bag to see what is inside. These days they don't do that because the information will be shared with parents via Telegram or a WhatsApp group. My people say that the best way to sharpen a knife is not to whet one side of it. So we're going to look at the disadvantages or the cons or the challenges for using social media as a learning tool. We'll first look at the challenges for learners. So 1, distraction. TikTok dances or funny videos can easily distract students from their studies. So your teacher has posted a video or an important thing that he wants you to watch. But if care is not taken, you are going to turn your attention to something else because maybe a pop-up. Even it has been happening to me. I love football. So sometimes when I'm going to watch a video on a lesson that I want to prepare on YouTube, before I realize I'm watching football. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to a student as well. So if you are not careful, you are going to be distracted. Another important point, misinformation. Not every online material is true. So what I'm trying to say is that not everything online is true. A student might mistake a false blog post for fact and use it in an assignment. Another concern has to do with privacy and security risk. Sharing personal information online can expose students to cyberbullying, scams, or identity theft. We have treated cyberbullying, or we are yet to treat it in class. But when you say cyberbullying, using electronic means to harass or intimidate someone, that is what we mean by cyberbullying. Another point has to do with the digital divide. The digital divide. Not all students have internet access or digital devices. This creates inequality in learning opportunities. And sometimes it's difficult for teachers to share videos on these platforms that I talked about, like the TikTok or even Telegram, WhatsApp. Some students do not have the devices, or they don't have Android. And so when you share such information, the best you can do is to fall on their friends to learn. And that can also be a challenge, because your friend must learn before it gets to your turn. And sometimes these students that we are talking about, they don't have the money to even download the information. If it's a printable something, even to print is a problem. So digital divide is a challenge for students. Shortened attention span is also a challenge for students. The constant consumption of short videos makes it harder for students to focus on long text, like textbooks. These days, it's difficult for students to read textbooks or even articles, because they are used to the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is just a summary of the actual content. It's just what I call the skeleton, but that is what the students depend on. Even when you are teaching master student and PhD student, after the lecture, that first, or even before you start, they will ask you, say, are you going to give us the PowerPoint? They are not ready to go and read from other sources. You see, under normal circumstances, you come to class, listen to the lecture, you take notes, and then you go and read extensively from the sources that the lecturer has indicated on the course outline. All right. Our time, they were not giving us PowerPoint. There was nothing like PowerPoint. All right. So we have to go to the library to read ourselves. And the books were not there, but we're doing our best. And even the books, some of them were anachronistic or outmoded, but we're doing our best to actually grasp the concepts. Let's look at the challenges for teachers, or the cons. We are looking at the pros and cons. We have looked at the pros, or the advantages, or the benefits, and we want to look at the challenges for teachers. So one, how to monitor students. It is hard to monitor students. Teachers can't always monitor to ensure that students are focused when using social platform. Some may veer off the topic quickly. I made a point earlier on that social media can serve as a distraction to the student, but it's difficult for the teacher to monitor. I have shared a video for you to watch on TikTok or even YouTube, but I can't guarantee that the student is actually watching whatever I have shared. So it is hard to monitor students when they are using the social media platform. Another concern has to do with misinformation. Teachers have to spend extra time to verify content they share or recommend to students. That can add to their workload, because you don't want to give information to students that is not authentic. Online misconduct is also another issue. Some students misuse social media for bullying or cheating, like sharing test answers. If you decide to, if you're a teacher, okay, let me not go far. I think about was it 2 years or a year ago, we were doing online exams for mid-sem and end of sem. And some student a student will start and then screenshot the question and share on the student WhatsApp group or platform, forgetting that the lecturers are also there. So that even though we can use social media platform for good things, the student can also use it for bad things. So as teachers, we need to be careful. And so when you are conducting online exams, you need to put in the mechanisms to ensure that the student will not find it easy to share the questions with others. So for example, you need to apply what we call the sequencing. So the student has to go forward. The student cannot come back to look at a question that he or she has already answered. They can only go forward. And apart from that, you need to ensure that when they are done with the exams, the results will not be displayed to them immediately. Otherwise, they are going to share with their students. So once they click finish, the questions and the answers will not be available to them. Only a message will pop up telling them that they have completed the quiz and that the lecturer will share or will release the grades to them later. All right, so we also want to look at time consumption, or using social media as a learning tool can be time consuming. Managing online groups or responding to queries made by students and moderating content can eat into the instructor or the teacher's personal time. Because, for example, when you upload videos or maybe you create a question or create a discussion forum for students to respond to the question, you must also take part. You need to ensure that the students are on track. They don't have to veer off the main theme that is being discussed. And so it is time consuming. That can also add to your workload. Technology fatigue is also another concern for teachers. Too much screen time can lead to burnt out or eye strain and stress for both students and teachers. So it's not only for teachers, but students can also suffer from technology fatigue, too much screen time. So we need to ensure that as you are using the system or watching videos, from time to time, we need to take a break, walk around, and come and continue. And that is why when we are creating the video, it should be short. So 30 minutes, maximum should be 45 minutes. So if it was a 3-hour lecture, you need to break the content. You need to chunk the content. So 30 minutes, the student will watch 30 minutes, take a break, and come and continue the other aspects. Policy restriction is also a concern for teachers. Some schools limit the use of social media in education, making it difficult for teachers to innovate. At the moment in Ghana, second SHS students and let's say pre-tertiary institutions, they are not allowed to use cell phones or mobile phones. So while the students are in school, if you're a teacher and you want to innovate, you want to share certain information online or like the WhatsApp group, you cannot do that unless they are on vacation. All right, so far we have discussed the pros, that is the advantages of using social media as a learning tool. We have also discussed the challenges or the cons or the disadvantages of using social media as a learning tool. So if you have been following the lecture, you might have learned that social media has great potential to enhance learning, improve communication, and open doors to new knowledge. But like any tool, it must be used wisely. And teachers and students alike must be guided to maximize the benefits while minimizing the downsides or the disadvantages or the limitations. I want you to ponder over these questions before we go over what we have been talking about. So my question is, how do you use social media for learning? What challenges have you faced, and how do you think they can be solved? I'll repeat the questions. How do you use social media for learning? What challenges have you faced, and how do you think those challenges can be solved or addressed? All right. So if you want to call to contribute to today's radio lecture, the number to call is 050 392 3158. WhatsApp and SMS 050 392 3158. We are also streaming live via the university homepage. We are streaming live via Facebook. So if you have a question or you have a contribution to make, just note them. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to have a recap of what we have been discussing. All right, welcome back. If you just tune in, we've been talking about using social media as a learning tool, the pros and cons, or the benefits and challenges. And we look at the benefits from the perspective of the learner and that of the instructor. And for the learner, we said that using social media as a learning tool enhances collaboration and communication. It also facilitates access to learning resources. It also enhances or promotes engagement, student engagement. We also talk about the fact that it exposes students to global opportunities. The learner is able to, or the student is able to connect with other students all over the world. All right, so we have a message. I'm going to read it and then we'll continue. Can you please go over the advantages of using social media in learning? Thank you very much. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. I'm going over. All right, this message came from Samuel Chum. All right, so I was talking about the fact that using social media as a learning tool enhances collaboration and communication. It also facilitates access to learning resources. It enhances student engagement. It exposes the learner or the student to global opportunities where the learner or the student can connect with other students all over the world. It promotes self-paced learning. The student can learn on his or her own, especially if we share recorded video or even the lecture that we are having now. It will be uploaded. You can access it online and learn it on your own if you are not able to listen to the radio lecture live. And even if you listen to the radio lecture live, you can still go back to the recorded video and watch it at your own pace. You can rewind, you can rewatch, you can do whatever you want to do with the content until you are satisfied, until you get the point. Using social media as a learning tool also build digital literacy. All right, let's look at the benefits from the perspective of the teacher. One, it improves communication because the instructor is able to share information with the students via the social media platform like the Telegram, the WhatsApp. The teacher can also send reminders, especially when due date for assignments and maybe a quiz is approaching. You want to send a reminder to the student. You can do that. Innovative, we talk about innovative teaching. The student, the teacher can create short videos and share with the student on TikTok or Instagram. And we have software that we can use to do that. And one of them is Snagit, where the teacher can create asynchronous lessons and share with the students. So the teacher will do the recording and share on the social media platform that I talk about, the WhatsApp, the TikTok, and whatever. Right. And I gave an example that imagine if you summarize the causes of the First World War, in a 60-second video, adding animations and sound effects. That is going to be fun. So the learner is learning, but at the same time having fun. We talk about social media promoting professional development. Teachers can join professional learning communities, what we call the PLCs, on Twitter or Facebook and get opportunity to interact with experts in his or her field. So if you are a maths teacher, you can join PLCs that constitute mathematicians, experts. You can also attend free webinars and share experiences. Using social media as a learning tool can also facilitate sharing of resources. We have Google Classroom, which is a learning management system, or LMS. We have Padlet, that will also allow teachers to share information, even post assignments and videos and what have you. Using social media as a learning tool can also facilitate teacher parent communication. And I give an example that when I was in the primary school, the teachers will write notes and then put it in your bag, and then when you go home, your parent will have to examine your bag to see what is inside. And these days, parents will not have to examine your bag, or teachers don't have to write the information and put it in your bag, because they can communicate with parent directly using Telegram or WhatsApp or some of these social media platforms that are available. Then we also talk about the challenges for learners, the challenges or the cons for using social media as a learning tool, the disadvantages on the part of the learner. We talk about the fact that it can serve as a distraction. We also talk about misinformation, because not every thing online is true. So a student might make a mistake of using a false blog post for fact and incorporate it in his or her assignment. We talk about privacy and security concerns or risk. Sharing personal information online can expose students to cyberbullying, scams, and identity theft. So we need to be careful when we are sharing personal information. It is not every platform that you have to join. The social media platforms, there are several of them, but some of them are fake. So you need to be careful. You need to actually join those established ones or the authentic ones. We talk about the fact that not every learner has access to digital devices or Android phones. So using social media as a learning platform can create what we call the digital divide. The digital divide, because not every student have internet access or the digital device that will enable them to access the content that we are going to share. And this creates inequality in learning opportunities. We also talk about shortened attention span. The constant consumption of short videos or the use of PowerPoint or the slides makes it harder for students to focus on long text like textbooks, because they are not used to reading from textbooks. It happened to me. You are not the only one if you are also struggling to read from textbooks. I remember our time, they were not giving us PowerPoints, but we're buying handouts. Whether you like it or not, you buy it. So it was easy for students to consume or read from the handout. So when I had the opportunity to study abroad, it was difficult for me, because over there, the textbook is very big, and they will ensure that you read maybe about 3 or 4 pages, chapters before you come to class. It was difficult for me because I was not used to, reading from textbook. Even though I was going to the library, but it was not extensive, or we were not told to read 3 chapters or 4 chapters before you come. We were encouraged to read. So it was difficult for me initially. But later on I adapted, because when you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. All right. So I am just encouraging you that don't depend on the slides, because the slides is just a summary, all right, or a skeleton something. So try to actually read from the textbook that your lecturer has indicated on the course outline to get more knowledge or in-depth knowledge. These days, if you're a student, you don't need to, you can learn on your own because the resources are there, okay? So if you want to actually get in-depth knowledge about the content, you can, because the resources are there. Online resources, textbooks, even the textbooks, some of them are free online, you can download. Over-reliance on social media can also be a problem. Students may depend too much on online summaries and neglect traditional learning methods like hands-on experiment or in-depth reading, which I talked about earlier. All right. So we need to actually try to balance, okay? Because if you are undergraduate students and you don't learn how to read from other sources, apart from the slides, when you start doing your masters, it's not going to change. You're going to ask, like earlier when I made a point that when you are teaching master student, the first time you meet, say, when you start teaching and you are maybe, you share your slides via the projector, the first question somebody will ask, say, are you going to give us the slides? All right, because they are not ready to go and read. They will depend on the slides. So try to develop the habit of reading from other sources apart from the slides, so that when you are doing your masters, you will not find yourself wanting. All right, challenges for teachers or lecturers or instructors. Right, we made a point that it is hard to monitor students, because as a teacher, you can't always ensure that the student is focusing on whatever you want them to learn on the social media. You have shared the information on TikTok or the Telegram or the WhatsApp. You cannot guarantee whether they're actually learning what you want them to learn, because some students may veer off the topic and start reading or watching videos that are not subject oriented. We talk about misinformation. Teachers have to spend extra time to verify the content they share or recommend to students, because you don't want to share information that is not authentic. So before you share anything to your student, you need to ensure that you verify the content is authentic. Another issue that we talk about has to do with online misconduct. Though some students may misuse the social media platform. All right, we have some text message that we want to go through. All right, the first one is coming from Ma Echampon Obed. And it says, I am called Ma Echampon, reading BSc of Agriculture Science, watching you live from South Campus. Keep up the good work. Thank you. The next one is coming from Chum Samuel. Please, is there any clue one can use can use to identify falsified information on social media? Okay. the same Samuel Chum. Can you please go over the advantage of, okay, we have done that. All right, so when you are watching a video or it's a test, you expect to see the author's name. And there are times that you may visit a site, they don't have author. But these days there are other ways to verify whether whatever you are reading is authentic or is not authentic, because you are not sure. So try to contact other sources. All right. For example, ChatGPT can also confirm, or we have other sources. If it is an article or it's a video, you can also go to other databases to verify the content. So as a student, there is the need for you to actually contact other or consult other sources. It's just like your lecturer has given you the slides. How do you know that the content is true? By reading further or other sources. Don't depend on only one source. So on your course outline, for example, we have a number of textbooks. Okay, so you can also try to contact the other sources to verify the information that you have come across, or if it's a video, somebody prepared a video and you are listening to the video. That is the only way you can verify, because the content, the video that you are watching, you can't tell whether it is right or not, even if it's a YouTube video, because anybody at all can just post a video. So try to verify with the note that they have given to you in class, or try to also consult the textbooks that your lecturer has listed on the course outline. All right, we'll continue with the challenges on the part of the instructor. So we talk about the online misconduct. I think I was talking about that before I paused to read your messages. So the online misconduct, the LMS, for example, the learning management system, like the V-class, we normally use it for discussion. All right, we pose a question for the student to discuss. So, all right, so a student has, you pose the question, a student has responded. Another student can pass a bad comment about the post, and that is what we call the cyberbullying. So some students can misuse the social media for bullying or for cheating. So I talk about the fact that when we say cyberbullying, using electronic means to harass, to intimidate someone. All right, so like the social media platform, an email is also one. All right, even telephone. Okay, so anytime you are using electronic means to harass, to intimidate another person, it's tantamount to cyberbullying. And some students can use those social media that we are using for learning to bully other students. I talk about the learning management system, the discussion forum. I talk about even WhatsApp. All right, somebody can just pass a negative comment or try to say something that is not nice about you. Or student can use the social media platform to cheat, like examination time. If the questions are configured online, once they respond, they start spreading the answers around. And I said, as an instructor, when we are conducting quizzes or tests online, you need to put in the mechanism that will prevent the student from cheating. We also talk about technology fatigue. Technology fatigue. Too much screen time can lead to burnt out or eye strain or stress. not only for the teacher but the student as well. So when we are watching the videos or we are online, we need to take a break. We don't have to continue watching a video for 3 hours or more. All right. When you are watching a video, or if an instructor, you are creating videos, ensure that at least the maximum video should be between 30 to 45. Okay. Because you want to help your student to be able to concentrate. So if it's even a 3-hour lecture, you need to chunk the video or break the video into smaller content like the 30 to 45 minutes that I talked about. And then another challenge has to do with the fact that in some schools, especially the pre-tertiary institutions, the students are not allowed to use mobile phones. In fact, it's a topic for discussion, or it's one of those issues that is being debated, whether we should allow students to use the SHS and those people in the pre-tertiary institution to use cell phones or mobile phones in school. It has, of course, it has got disadvantages and it has got advantages, but it's an issue. It's an issue. I don't know how we are going to resolve it, because it limits teachers from being innovative, because sometimes we want to share certain content with your student, and because they don't have access to the digital devices, it is difficult to do that. Of course, in some schools they have a library where there are computers or laptops, and students can go there and access the digital content, but they need to actually put in the mechanism that will prevent the student from veering off the main topic. I want master's student, MPhil student, who is an ICT lecturer, once shared with us that whilst they were in the ICT lab, he was teaching, the student had access to the internet. Some of the guys were watching pornography while the lesson was going on. So we need to actually put in the mechanism to ensure that the student will not watch content that are not good for their psychological well-being. All right, so we have gone over all that we have discussed. We have talked about the advantages and disadvantages of using social media as a learning tool. We look at the benefits from the perspective of the learner and that of the instructor. We also look at the challenges from the perspective of the learner and the instructor or the teacher. So in conclusion, I want to say that social media has a great potential to enhance learning, improve communication, and open doors to acquire new knowledge. But like any other tool, we need to use social media wisely. And teachers and students must be guided to maximize the benefits while minimizing the limitations or the challenges or the disadvantages. All right, so if you want to contribute to the discussion, the number to call is 050-392 3158. Same number, WhatsApp and SMS 050-392-3158. We are also streaming live via the university homepage. You can also catch us live via Facebook. Radio Windy Bay 98.3 FM. Okay, let's take a break. Maybe. Welcome back. So if you have a question or contribution, you can call 050-392-3158. If you are not able to maybe join us on time and you want to watch the recorded video, even though I have reviewed the lesson, you can go to Facebook Live and then download or watch the video maybe to gain more insight. You can also read further on what we have discussed, using social media as a learning tool. Right. So on this note, unless maybe you have a question or contribution, we want to bring this evening's radio lecture to a close, and next week, same time, 5:30 to 7, we are going to be live. We're going to talk about creative ways to improvise in the classroom. Creative ways to improvise. You know, as teachers, there are times that we need to improvise because the real thing might not be there. The tools or the resources that we need to support the lesson that we are going to teach, they may not be there, and there will be the need for us to improvise or use something in place of the real thing. That is what we are going to talk about next week. All right, so good night. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye for now.